What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Saturday, right? Saturday night, party night. Well, no party night here on the Earthmaster Ranch for now. The latest earthquake out here on the globe shows a 1.0, Northern California. Goodness, looking at the map here tonight, shows some quieter conditions that have prevailed here over the last 24 hours. According, or at least compared to the previous 24 hours. Goodness, a lot less activity. We did see some movement down here in Indonesia early this morning. That's a 6.0, specifically for this area here. Haven't really seen any major uptick. We've seen a little bit of movement up here across China and the India area around this plate boundary. The last earthquake, that's going to be a 4.9 down in the Papua New Guinea area, somewhat deep out here. So a mixed bag of deep earthquake activity and surface adjustment going on across this plate boundary. Down here across the Tonga area and the Kermadec Trench, the latest earthquake early this morning. That's a 4.5 at 555 kilometers deep into the Tonga Trench. No further earthquake activity here to report. Let's go ahead and check out the GeoNet servers. Just give a quick glance here. 14 hours ago, that's the latest earthquake that was reported, at least far as the shaking response goes, about 14 hours ago, down on South Island area of New Zealand. We did see quite a bit of uptick here across the Kilauea volcano. Goodness, quite a bit of earthquake activity here in the last few hours or so. Some of this activity stretching up towards the surface area. That is likely due to the magma movement finding its way towards the surface, obviously. We have seen some earthquake activity out here below the surface. It's obviously magma movement with the tilt inflation. But it looks like things are progressing towards the surface now. I don't think we're at a eruptive status here as far as the Kilauea volcano goes. The latest daily updated information here from earlier this morning shows that Kilauea volcano is not erupting. Of course, this was prior to all this earthquake activity. So let's double check here with the webcams, right? Let's get a little visual of what's going on out here across Kilauea volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Instruments here. This is all, again, all accessible by the public. Anyone around the globe can access this information here around the Kilauea volcano. Most of the activity here has been on the south flank here of Kilauea volcano, with a stretching up towards the Kilauea volcano crater, or the lava lake area. So let's see what we got going on here. Some of these, let's see here. Well, it's probably kind of dark over there right now, right? Let's see if we got any information out here from any of these areas. I don't see any glowing out there, any lava movement. And again, certain areas of bright features, you can kind of see the caldera out here. It's a little bit past sunset out there on the big island. But notice these bright features out here. In fact, Timothy, one of our moderators here on the channel and a long-term member there in New Zealand, has noticed some bright features out here across the Kilauea lava lake area. And it looks like some magma out there across the surface areas of the lava lake region of Kilauea volcano. So I'm noticing that. That is obvious there in that feature of the webcam. And there's a couple other webcams that we can access out here. Let's see, I'm trying to think how we find those. There's certain temperature views of that lava, or that lava lake area. I just can't think right now where that could be at. I may have to get back to it. But it looks like there's some activity stirring up here at the surface areas of the lava lake of Kilauea volcano. Some earthquakes there showing some shallower movement. That is obviously a increase in magma movement below the surface there of the big island of Hawaii. So we'll continue to watch that. Doesn't look like any explosive eruption is coming up. Just your typical eruption up here across the Kilauea volcano, which is lava feeding or magma feeding up into the lava lake area and just kind of filling up that area. So we'll continue to watch that for now. All right. Anything major going on aside from that 6.0? Well, Morocco has calmed down quite nicely as far as earthquake activity goes. We've only seen a handful of smaller earthquakes there in that area. That earthquake there yesterday was a very rare earthquake across the area of Morocco. I don't think we're going to see anything bigger out there, and I don't think we'll probably see anything bigger, or at least of that magnitude, for many years to come. Obviously, fault systems out here across the area of the African continent have been building up for quite a while, and it has been quite a bit of time since there's been any measurable earthquake activity out there across this area of the plate boundary, south of the plate boundary. So it's, you know, here on Earth, right, depending on what your age is, we base our geology information off of what we've studied as a kid, what we've learned in school. And this Earth and the geology and the plate tectonic out here, tectonic action, is way older than what we've studied in school, right? So our little record keeping, our only little record keeping of a past couple hundred years, okay, I'll give credit, a couple hundred years of record keeping out here is very minimal on what has actually taken place out here across this area. So I believe potentially maybe we have seen out here in the past, the distant past, a large activity out here across Morocco. It had to have been, with the mountain ranges up here building up, and this earthquake activity was probably not forecasted at all in terms of, you know, future potential earthquake activity, according to the geologists. I think this was a little surprise off the plate boundary, but I don't think we're going to see anything following this earthquake movement here. Aftershock activity, yes, but nothing in terms of larger scale movement. That activity could shift here. If you look at the plate boundary activity here, Morocco sits around this area. We got the northeastward movement here against the Eurasia plate, right? This does add strain against the Mediterranean. We haven't really seen too much uptick here across the Mediterranean. A couple smaller 2s and 3s out here, but we'll still keep an eye on that area for some potential movement. There's that activity in China. Java Trench area here across the Sumatra region. Looks like this is kicking up slightly with a 4.6 earlier this morning. 173 kilometers deep underneath the island, this area of Sumatra. We'll watch for some, you know, surface activity. Obviously, all this deeper movement quake activity we've seen here around the Java Sea, Java Trench, Banda Sea, builds up strain. This is a major subduction zone out here across this region. Let me, it's kind of in a zone that's, oh, it's over here. Right here. Notice this arrow pointing towards this region, and the arrow's pointing towards the southeast here, so to speak, or the right side of the screen. This is a major area of accumulated stress. Slip rate up here is quite high, and when you have arrows pointing against each other, that is not the place to be. That's obviously in a region that sees quite high seismicity and earthquake activity. So we'll watch this area. Deeper movement quakes obviously adding some strain up at the surface regions of the Java Trench. Down here across the Tonga Trench area, a couple deeper earthquakes. The last one again, a 4.5 down into the Fiji region. So we'll watch that there for some movement. Kuril Kamchatka Trench, goodness, I mean, I don't know what's going on here. This area has been absolutely quiet, and you can't help but wonder, with all this large-scale movement taking place around the Pacific Plate, what's going on here? What is up with this area? I've already said this is overdue here for a megaquake, and there's just nothing showing up in the earthquake activity. I don't think that's going to stay that way for long. Keep an eye on that area of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Pacific Northwest, one earthquake up here. Alder, Washington. Nothing showing up here at the Mount St. Helens area, but I'm sure there's some localized microquake activity still. Northern California, zooming into the area around Bernie, the last earthquake at 2.0 out here. That's the area that's seen the 5.0 earlier yesterday. Far as movement in California goes, it's awfully quiet. One earthquake here, 2.4 near Walker, California, and a little bit of activity out here across the San Bernardino mountain range of Southern California. No major swarming taking place across the area of California. So overall, general seismic activity has been definitely a lot less than what we've seen yesterday and overnight. One area that's shown a little bit of slight uptick movement is across the Puerto Rico Trench. This area gets squeezed quite often between the South America region and the North America plate, along with what goes on here across the area of the Middle America Trench. This puts strain out here against the Caribbean plate, which is seen right here. Caribbean plate. And it's kind of an orange, light colored orange. This area just getting pushed around and bullied, so to speak. So that's an area of seismic uptick here, at least today, around the Puerto Rico Trench. Let's see if there's anything noteworthy here on the earthquake 3D globe. The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. We got a 4.1 coming in right now into the area off the coast of Nicaragua. It's been a long time since I've stuttered that word, but hey, it happens, right? 4.1 it looks like occurring in that area right now. Aside from that, you know, it's a mixed bag of earthquake activity, so we'll continue to watch for some potential movement in certain quiet zones tonight. All right. Well, we're past the shadow. The shadow of the blackout activity. This is some recent activity. It looks like we got a little flaring going on here from this Earth-centered sunspot. Notice the bright feature out here. Let's see what we got. A little bit of C-flare activity kicking up here. That is from 3423. The latest imagery of the magnetogram shows some complex structure within the sunspot core gaining some strength here. So we'll watch this area. It is center disk, and it's a massive sunspot. If let me go back here. If you have a solar telescope, I may go out there tomorrow and see if I can't spot this. But if you have a solar telescope or a solar camera, it's got to be solar, right? You can't point this at the sun and expect to get some images. You'll completely ruin your camera if you do so. You have to have a solar special lens here to look at the sun and take pictures. That is a massive sunspot. So, you know, easily viewable. I think even if you had some solar glasses out there, you know, for looking at the solar eclipse, you'll probably see that mid-disk. A huge sunspot right now. That's 3423. Behind that, we have a couple different sunspot regions that are showing a little bit of complexity. We'll watch that in the coming days. And a handful of, well, newcomers here to the visible disk of the sun. We'll see how those play out in the coming days. Right now, a 99% chance of a C flare, M flare at 45, X flare around 5% chance. But as far as auroras go, well, we are out of luck. There's not a whole lot of storming expected in the coming days. No major coronal holes that are facing us. A couple here, 44 and 46, off the Earth-Sun plane, though. All right, let's check out the major hurricane out there in the Atlantic. We're talking about Hurricane Lee. Well, at least the current imagery here, the current information shows that it is sitting at 105 mile per hour sustained winds for this hurricane. It has dropped down drastically here over the last couple days, so I'm not for sure what's going on with that. But it is expected to increase in strength here for a major hurricane before taking a north sharp turn up towards Bermuda. But we'll see how that plays out in the coming days. Let's go ahead and check out the latest tropical satellite view here of Lee. It's kind of all over the place if you really look at it. I'm not for sure what's interfering with this hurricane here, but it's over open waters. It's got sufficient warm waters to deal with, but it's lacking its intense development. There's really not a whole lot of eye development around that center of circulation there, so it's hard to say what's going on. Maybe some upper level shear going on with that, preventing it from being a major hurricane, but it is expected to kick up here as far as the major hurricane status goes. The latest spaghetti models does show most of the movement here northward. Maybe potentially around the extreme areas up here in the northeastern area. We're talking probably about Maine, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia area, maybe getting in on some of that activity. So some of those spaghetti models are, you know, they're, hold on a second here, they're kind of all over the place. This is the expected Category 4 strength hurricane. These are in knots here. So we'll continue to watch that for some development as far as Hurricane Lee goes. I want to check out the latest informational statement here from the, well, at least the forecast models here on the Hurricane Lee status, which is, you know, still expected to track northwestward and get caught up pretty quickly with that low up here. Notice this low pressure system up here off the eastern portion of the states. That will pull up moisture. It's obviously going counterclockwise, and that's going to suck up the Lee up here. There we go. Notice that pulling up there. The patterns, these pressure differences and whatnot play a major part in the hurricane direction there. So this wasn't here. We have a different scenario. This could be damaging hurricane out here across the eastern portion of the country, maybe into even Florida. But right now, we are looking at the path headed northward. Behind that, well, oh shoot, that is another story. Look at that hurricane. This was a little bit different this morning. So let's see what's going on out there with this. Let me go over here to the National Hurricane Center here. This is kind of a scary one. Hello, McFly. There we go. Okay, Atlantic Ocean. Let's go over here. Things are a little odd right now as far as the speed goes. There we go. Okay, so it looks like, is it Margaret that we have to worry about? Ah, goodness, 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 goodness. Let's go here to current storms here. Is it Margaret? Let me look here and see what we got here for this. I don't think it's that. This is all over. Look at this. Which way is she going to go, George? Which way? It's all over the place. Goodness, I could probably draw a little bit more better spaghetti model than this one is. But it, oh, goodness, 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 goodness. I don't think it's Margaret. Which one is it? If I could get the National Hurricane Center to key up properly. There's Margaret out here. Is it this one maybe? But it looks like there's something coming up behind Lee. It could be Margot. It's not Margaret. It's Margot. I can't think of any other pronunciation for that. Margot. I'm guessing. But there is a chance of some cyclone prediction or cyclone development from this one right here. But look again. Look here, folks. Let me show you guys the models here. Okay. In the we can kind of show the Western Atlantic here. I think this will show a little bit closer detail. There is Hurricane Lee right now, right? See that? Watch this as I put this into motion here. Gets trapped up north. That could be Margot. That is a huge hurricane, if that is the case there. Again, this is way out into the September 23rd time frame. That could be not the case, right? These models are very inconsistent when they come out this far, but this is something else that we have to watch for some tropical threat to the East Coast. Look at that. You get something big like that buzzsawing, pretty much a buzzsaw out here across the area of the eastern seaboard. That's something to watch pretty closely. We'll watch this in our future model runs here on each update video. Either way, that's a little scary out there as far as that major hurricane potential across the eastern portion of the country. All right, folks. Yeah, again, we'll definitely watch that and see how that plays out. I'm going to jump off here and enjoy the rest of the evening here with Missy Mimi's. Don't forget, we have our 100,000 subscriber giveaway happening at the end of this month. I keep putting it up at our end of the videos here, at least as far as the next up video following this update video. So if you haven't got yourself in there, we got about 320 entries, which is not bad. We have well over 100,000 subscribers on here on this channel. So I would like to see that number jump up. If you're not interested in winning any prizes or fear of maybe privacy issues, you are welcome to pass that along. There's a pay it forward type deal that is optional here on this channel if you win. Say, for example, you enter into the drawing, but you don't want to win prizes due to fear of maybe privacy issues. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because everyone has to be careful in this day and age. But you are welcome to pass that along to maybe another member, another channel member, maybe someone else you know, and they will get the prizes. So, or maybe you want only a certain prize and you don't want the rest of the prizes, so to speak, for fear of privacy issues. And that's your choice. But we want to make this optional and open to everyone. And about 320 entries right now. We would like to see that at least double. So get in, make sure you sign up for that entry video. It's pretty simple, folks. All you have to enter is the word earthquake on that update video. Not this video, but on the video that's coming up next. I have it keyed up here next. You should see it center screen following this update video. All right. We're out of here. Have a good night. And welcome to the new subscribers and the new members here on this channel. Of course, we'll be doing our typical member drawing that we do every single month. Coming up here in a few days. It's getting pretty close. About four or 5 days or so. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow morning sometime. Have a good night.